This is the original colony, colony number 1, and they're definitely a lot quieter than the other ones, but I've seen them taking nice big fat packets of pollen in with them, so that's a good sign. And they are flying, they're just not flying as vigorously as the other hive, but that can be to do with all sorts of things. They have their kind of time and place for doing things, just like any animal. But yeah, they're looking okay. I've shut up all the entrances, apart from the main one down here for the winter, so that they're nice and draft free. And of course these hives are incredibly well insulated, which really helps the bees stay, conserve their energy over the winter. You can see the bees have got thistles growing up in front of the entrance. This is actually a really good, some people like to remove the vegetation from in front of the hive, but it can actually be a really good way to stop them robbing each other. So you can see the hives are actually quite close together. In the wild they'd be, much further apart, and so you can see that the bees here, because there's this big clump of thistles in front of their entrance, they're coming out this side, so their flight path is coming out and going this way, and they're coming in and out here, so they're not even crossing over with the bees in this hive, which is a really good way. It's a simple way of just encouraging your bees to not mingle and mix too much. Obviously if they were to kind of get together, they would, if a bee from one colony tries to get into the other colony, she'll be pushed out. But you don't want to have them too close together, because obviously then that's when you get disease spreading. I'm sure after the last 18 months we don't need to go into too many details, but it kind of socially distances the hives by having some foliage in front of them. So I'm a big fan of grass, greenery in front of the hives. Obviously the bees are perfectly capable of navigating that, because they ordinarily would be living in a tree. So having things in front of the hive actually gives them a bit of a landmark, helps them navigate their way home, and it just provides a bit of a screen, helps protect the entrance from drafts. So yeah, it's not a problem at all, and actually, in my view, to be encouraged. Here we have the inspection board. So this sits underneath the body of the hive and allows us to kind of get a bit of a snapshot of what's going on inside without actually having to disturb the bees. And it's coloured yellow so that we can see a little bit more clearly what's going on here. Now there are I can see some varroa mites. There's a fair number. There's a wing. This here is propolis, the sort of resiny glue that the bees collect to protect the inside of their hive. These bees are quite quiet actually, so I hope they're okay. There's some cappings there, so these are caps that the bees have removed and then hatched out, or rather they've removed before hatching out. There's some wax flakes, a wing, and this is crystallized honey, or the crystals from the sort of the where the nectar's crystallized. The bees chuck the sort of little sugar crystals out. So this all looks pretty normal. Oh, crane fly. So we use this as one of the ways of checking on the hive's activity. obviously we clean it off and put it back in, and then we can monitor what's going on from one week to the other. So this is a really good way of seeing how the hive is doing without actually disturbing them. This is the board from the newer colony, or the colony that's been down here since the summer, and you can see that most of the activity is concentrated up in this corner, so that's likely to be where the majority of the brood is. There's been a little bit of wax moth here. There's a little wax moth tunnel. This is below the mesh floor though, so the bees can't police it so well, which is why you tend to get wax moth on the bottom board, and why you need to take the board out on a regular basis and clean it off. Very few mites on here. There's definitely more in the other hive, but yeah, these are looking really good, and I've just seen them bringing in pollen, which is a good sign because it shows that they're provisioning for the winter, which is what you want them to be doing at this time of year. So yeah, a few mites, but all looking good. You can see that the flowers have gone over now. The thistles are just a glorious range of seeds for the finches and other creatures that eat the sort of thistle down and seeds. So it's a lovely kind of autumnal landscape here today. It's the middle of September, so everything's as it should be, and the wildflower meadow has just built up to become, an amazing space for wildlife. There's nettles, knapweed, grasses, docks, thistles. It's a great space. Beautiful rose hips, and next door to them, the hawthorn berries. More great wildlife food on this hedgerow along here, which previously was covered in flowers, now it's covered in berries.